25, 1876. On a stretch of land beside the Little Bighorn River, one decision would seal the fate of 210 soldiers. By the end of the day, every man under Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer's direct command would be dead. What happened on those plains was not simply a battle. It was a collision of ambition, resistance, miscalculation, and survival. The Great Plains looked peaceful that morning. Along the riverbanks, thousands of Lakota Sioux, Northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho families had gathered. Teepees stretched for miles across the valley floor. Horses grazed quietly in the summer sun. Children played between the lodges. It did not look like a battlefield, but tension had been building for months. The United States was celebrating its centennial year, 100 years of independence. Yet in the West, conflict was escalating. Gold had been discovered in the Black Hills of present-day South Dakota, land that had been guaranteed to the Lakota Sioux under the Treaty of Fort Laramie in 1868. Prospectors flooded into the region anyway. The U.S. government demanded that the Lakota sell the land. They refused. When negotiations failed, federal authorities ordered all native bands to report to reservations. Those who did not comply would be considered hostile. Many refused to abandon their homeland. In response, the U.S. Army launched a campaign to force them into submission. 3 military columns were ordered to converge on native encampments in the region. One of those columns included the 7th Cavalry, led by George Armstrong Custer. Custer was already a national figure. During the Civil War, he had risen rapidly through the ranks. Bold and aggressive, he gained a reputation for daring cavalry charges. He was ambitious, charismatic, and hungry for glory. Some admired him, others believed he was reckless. In 1876, he saw another opportunity for distinction. As his scouts moved ahead of the 7th Cavalry, they reported signs of a massive village along the Little Bighorn River. Tracks, smoke, horses. The camp was far larger than expected. Within the valley were not hundreds, but thousands of people. Warriors from multiple tribes had gathered. Leaders such as Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse were present. It may have been the largest assembly of Native American forces ever seen on the northern plains. Custer faced a choice. He could wait for reinforcements from the other army columns, or he could strike immediately, hoping to catch the village by surprise before it scattered. Delay, he believed, would allow the camp to break apart and escape. Speed, he thought, would bring victory. He chose to attack. Custer divided his regiment into 3 battalions. Major Marcus Reno was ordered to charge the southern end of the village. Captain Frederick Benteen was sent west to scout and prevent escape. Custer himself led 5 companies north with approximately 210 men. The strategy depended entirely on surprise. Reno's battalion was the first to make contact. As soldiers advanced toward the village, they quickly realized the scale of what they were facing. Warriors mobilized rapidly, defending their families and their land. Reno's assault faltered. Under heavy pressure, his men retreated in disorder toward the bluffs overlooking the river. Benteen, summoned by urgent messages, moved to support Reno rather than press forward toward Custer. Meanwhile, Custer rode north, unaware that Reno's attack had failed. Instead of encountering a scattered and fleeing village, Custer's battalion met organized resistance. Warriors moved swiftly across the terrain, using their knowledge of the land to their advantage. They cut off escape routes and surrounded the advancing soldiers. The open hills offered little protection. The terrain, which Custer may have believed would provide a strategic position, became a trap. Communication broke down. Messages never reached their destination. Ammunition began to run low. Soldiers found themselves isolated, overwhelmed by numbers far greater than anticipated. Within a short time, the situation became hopeless. Surrounded on elevated ground, outnumbered and cut off from reinforcements, Custer and his men made their final stand. When the fighting ended, every soldier under Custer's immediate command lay dead. Approximately 210 men were killed alongside their commander. It was one of the most devastating defeats in United States military history. To the native warriors, it was a powerful defense of their homeland. To the United States, it was a shocking humiliation. News of the defeat spread quickly across the country. Custer, once celebrated as a Civil War hero, became a symbol, either of bravery in the face of overwhelming odds or of reckless ambition that led men to unnecessary death. In the months that followed, the federal government intensified its campaign against the Lakota and their allies. The victory at Little Bighorn did not end the conflict. Instead, it hardened national resolve. More troops were sent west. Resistance was eventually crushed. The Black Hills were seized. The battle became known as Custer's Last Stand. But it was more than that. It was the result of mounting tension between expansion and survival. It was shaped by broken treaties, competing ambitions, and cultural misunderstanding. And at its center was a decision to divide a force in the face of an enemy larger than expected. Historians continue to debate what might have happened had Custer waited. Would reinforcements have changed the outcome? Would the village have dispersed? Could the loss have been avoided? Those questions remain unanswered. What is certain is that on June 25, 1876, a choice was made on the plains of Montana, and within hours it reshaped the course of the Great Sioux War. The hills above the Little Bighorn are quiet now. Grass covers the ground where soldiers and warriors once fought. Markers stand where men fell. The land remembers, and so does history. Because sometimes history turns not on destiny, but on a single decision.